Well, that's it for Rule 2, assigning ownership of monkeys. Now that they are on the proper backs, let's get the little buggers insured before we send them out to face the dangers of the organisational jungle. Rule 3 of monkey management states that the dialogue between boss and staff member shall not end until all monkeys have been insured. This rule provides a systematic way to balance your staff's need for freedom in handling their monkeys with, simultaneously, your responsibility for the outcome. Giving your people authority and freedom benefits both you and them. The benefit to you is discretionary time. The more freedom they have, the less of your time and energy is required to supervise them. At the same time, freedom allows your people to enjoy the many benefits of self-management. More satisfaction, more energy, higher morale, and the like. But every benefit has its costs. The cost of giving your people more freedom is the increased risk that freedom entails. When people have freedom, they will make mistakes. Monkey insurance is designed to make sure they make only affordable mistakes. That is why all monkeys must be insured by one of the following policies. 1. Recommend, then act. 2. Act, then advise. Level 1. Recommend, then act. Provides insurance in situations where I feel there is a reasonable risk that one of my people might make an unaffordable mistake if left to his or her own devices. In such cases where I think my staff's actions might burn the building down, I want a chance to blow out the match beforehand. That is, I want a chance to veto the proposed actions. Such anxieties are usually connected with matters so important that if they were botched, I could not fire the botcher for incompetence because I myself would no longer have the authority. On these matters, I require my people to formulate recommendations that I must approve before they can proceed any further. This provides protection, but at the cost of more of my time and some of my people's freedom. Level 2 insurance. Act, then advise. Is for monkeys I'm pretty sure my people can handle successfully on their own. They are free to resolve those matters and inform me afterward at whatever time they think is appropriate. This gives them a lot of operating room and saves me a lot of supervisory time. The risk is, if they take an action that is going to burn the building down, I won't learn about it until afterward, when it is too late to do anything but hose down the ashes. Who selects the insurance policy for a given situation? Although I, as manager, must ultimately approve all selections, either party might make the selection depending on the circumstances. Sometimes I make the selection, especially when I require the protection afforded by Level 1. My people sometimes complain a little when I choose Level 1 because it limits their freedom. But it would be abdicating my responsibility as a manager for me to allow them to operate on their own with Level 2 insurance when there is a significant risk of an unaffordable mistake. Of course, it is neither possible nor desirable for me to tell my people in advance which policy to use on each and everything they do. So on most endeavours they assume the responsibility, and the risk, of selecting the policy themselves, with the understanding that their selections must ultimately satisfy me. They elect to use Level 2 only when, in their judgment, they believe that it will be acceptable to me if they go ahead and handle the situation in their own manner and inform me later. Otherwise, they give me their recommendations in advance, and then proceed with whatever actions we agree to in the dialogue, Level 1. If I am not satisfied with the policy they are using, I have the prerogative to change it. My aim is to practice hands-off management as much as possible, and hands-on management as much as is necessary. I do this by encouraging my people to utilize Level 2 insurance as much as possible, and requiring them to use Level 1 insurance as much as necessary. Insuring monkeys is a dynamic process. A person will do some parts of his work with Level 1 authority, and other parts with Level 2 authority. What is done with one level of insurance today might later require another level if circumstances change. In the following examples you will see the policies changing, sometimes on the discretion of my people, and sometimes on my discretion. The first example is the case of one of my former employees, Alex, who exercised more freedom than my anxieties would tolerate. He preferred to handle all his monkeys on a Level 2 basis, and inform me only occasionally of what he was doing, seemingly immune to my request to keep me better informed. One day there was a huge problem with one of his projects. My boss found out about it before I did, and expressed her displeasure to me in unmistakable terms. I went straight to Alex's office and did the same thing to him. I told him about how his not keeping me informed led to the unpleasant surprise I had just endured in my boss's office. I was furious. All I'm asking is that you keep me informed, but you never do. But we'll fix that. From now on, don't do anything on this project until you check with me first. Perhaps I overreacted, but nevertheless, Alex was the case of someone whose actions were such that my anxieties could not tolerate them at the time. In order to get my anxieties down to a level that allowed me to sleep at night, I had to move him back from level 2 authority to level 1. He complied, but as you might suspect, he eased himself back into level 2 after I calmed down and the project stabilized. That was a case where someone exercised too much freedom. The next example has to do with an occasion where I gave one of my people too much freedom. Maria was somewhat anxious about a certain project and wouldn't make any substantial moves on it without checking with me first. She was using level 1 insurance to get my fingerprints on everything she did. I was sure she could handle this project without checking with me so often, so I assured her of my confidence and asked her to resolve the matter on her own and let me know what she had done. After Maria left my office, I got a little concerned that if she was so anxious about the project, perhaps I should be too. I began wondering if I had overlooked something important. I called her back and asked her what was the worst thing that could go wrong with this project, and what were the odds it would go wrong. Her answer almost gave me a heart attack. My knees turned to water. I was sweating. My hands were trembling. I was petrified. 2 years earlier, my fears would have caused me to yank that monkey off Maria's back, clutch it to my chest and handle it myself. This time, however, I increased my protection by merely reinsuring it from level 2 to level 1. I told Maria, on second thought, please let me know your plans before you take any further action on this matter. Then I slumped back into my chair, exhausted but relieved that I had caught the situation in time. Later, as the project settled down and both Maria and I grew more comfortable with it, and with each other, on her own discretion, she moved to level 2 authority on most aspects of it. As it turned out, though, that project later became so important that my boss, Alice, began keeping closer tabs on it. One day she called to ask how it was going, and I told her I was letting Maria handle most of it on her own, level 2, because she had earned the right to do so, and because I wanted to let her grow and shine. My boss told me that because of the customer involved, she wanted me to handle the matter personally. When I tried to dissuade her, she told me something that really summed up the philosophy of balancing people's desire for freedom with the organization's need for protection. I appreciate what you're doing, she said, but this project is too risky for that. There will be other opportunities for developing your people. She told me to remember, never let the company go down the drain simply for the sake of practicing good management.